Our story begins in a bustling metropolis, under a clear and peaceful sky. Inside a nearby building, life goes on as usual for students and workers. And then there's him, walking through the city with an air of indifference. Each step is steady and purposeful, cutting through the anonymous crowds. But his path is suddenly interrupted, drawing the attention of confused passers-by. Suddenly, the sunlight begins to fade as a strange darkness falls over the city. Panic starts to spread as people point towards the sky in absolute terror. But our boy seems more curious than afraid, questioning the sudden commotion. And then he sees it, a flicker of dawning realization in his eyes. The sky rips open, confirming the crowd's worst fears as chaos erupts below. The streets are paralyzed with fear as something begins to emerge from the sky. A blinding pillar of light descends, striking the heart of the city. But instead of destruction, a strange blue panel materializes before our boy. And just like that, his main character moment is ruined. Everyone got the pop-up. While others panic, he calmly assesses the situation, wondering if it's virtual tech. But he can't imagine any nation on Earth possessing this level of technology. He cautiously reaches out, his hand stopping against the intangible screen. Across the city, the panels flicker to life, showing messages to a captive audience. The message is a chilling invitation to a place called the Killing World. A world where humanity is forced to fight for survival against impossible odds. The message promises a world of endless slaughter, but also the prize of eternal life. Before anyone can object, a wave of energy surges through the entire city. Pillars of light descend, trapping every man, woman, and child in their place. Confusion turns to terror as people realize they are completely powerless. Families are cruelly separated, their desperate cries unheard on the other side. Our boy looks down, watching his own hand begin to digitize and disappear. The horrifying truth sinks in. This isn't a game, it's an abduction. He's being forcibly dematerialized, pulled into an unknown digital world. A final message appears, framing this nightmare as Earth's only chance for redemption. And with a condescending good luck, humanity is thrown to the wolves. A system message welcomes them to Beginner Village 911. He plummets through the sky, his body still rematerializing. But even in freefall, his expression remains eerily composed. All around him, the air is filled with the screams of the terrified. They are all hurtling towards a small, primitive-looking village below. Beams of light slam into the ground, depositing the unwilling participants. He finds himself inside a simple wooden house, the reality of the killing world sinking in. Notifications pop up, explaining he's in a private safe house with a recovery buff. He's then granted access to something called the God Panel. He notes its similarity to a game interface, a familiar but unsettling concept. He discovers a world channel, a global chat that remains tantalizingly out of reach. Elsewhere, humanity's collective meltdown begins, ranging from terror to wild speculation. As the public channel floods with panicked messages, Qin Feng calmly observes the data. Most people share a low, one-star combat rating, but a few are already standing out. One man boasts about his superior physical stats, a result of his life as a boxer. Our boy, Qin Feng, finally checks his own stats, connecting them to his chance of survival. He quickly deduces the average person's attributes are hovering around a value of 10, but his own stats are wildly different. Apparently, he skipped leg day to read a library. Just as he realizes his mind is his greatest weapon, a new notification pops up for everyone. The system is about to awaken their talent skills, a game-changing revelation. The system reveals a talent hierarchy, from common F ranks to legendary SSS ranks. The highest tiers are unique, meaning only one person in the world can possess them. A choice is presented, and for Qin Feng there is no hesitation. He accepts. His world dissolves, replaced by a cosmic void filled with countless glowing orbs. He finds himself floating weightlessly in this strange, ethereal space. Quickly adapting to the zero gravity, he begins to navigate the star-filled expanse. He questions the purpose of these spheres, trying to decipher the system's test. His extensive reading pays off as he realizes this must be the talent selection process. Believing a stronger talent must come from a special orb, he begins his search. But in a sea of infinite identical choices, finding the right one is a daunting task. And in that moment, a radical idea sparks in his mind. He realizes all the orbs are being drawn towards a massive source of light. With a surge of effort, he fights the current, reaching for the light itself. Instead of choosing a single orb, he decides to go for the whole buffet. A system notification confirms his insane gamble has paid off. He has awakened the SSS rank talent skill, Endless Extract. Its description is simple yet terrifyingly powerful. Extract anything for unknown effects. Qin Feng knows he holds a unique power, but he'll need to experiment to understand it. A village-wide summary reveals just how rare high-tier talents truly are. Meanwhile, the public channel is filled with people celebrating their mediocre D-rank skills. Qin Feng processes the data, realizing just how monumental his SSS rank talent truly is. But the village summary mentioned 2 high rankers. He wonders who the other one is. The public channel erupts, begging their new lords to reveal themselves. And just like that, a man named Liu Xuan becomes an instant celebrity with his C-rank power. Qin Feng watches the chaos, noting how quickly a mere C-rank talent inspires worship. He knows that in a world built on slaughter, revealing his power would paint a target on his back. His SSS rank ability is his ultimate trump card, a secret he must protect at all costs. But a new system-wide alert cuts through the noise. The beginner exam is about to start. The penalty for failure is simple and brutal: immediate execution. The system graciously provides a beginner weapon, a rusty sword with a whopping +2 attack power. He examines the pathetic sword, noting its meager +2 attack power. He gives it a few test swings, feeling out the weight of his new reality. But even this small boost feels surprisingly potent in his hands. He wonders how to improve it, and then a familiar thought clicks into place. It's time to experiment with his SSS rank talent, Endless Extract. He activates his skill, channeling its mysterious power into the blade. A wave of energy erupts, washing over the simple weapon. He literally extracted the suck right out of it, upgrading the sword. The blade is now a rank 1 weapon with +5 attack, but Qin Feng isn't satisfied yet. He activates his talent again, ready to push his unique power even further. He channels his power again, the blade glowing with ethereal energy. But the system denies him. The sword is too weak to be upgraded further. He realizes his power has limits, which is probably for the best to avoid breaking reality. Still, he grips his new weapon, a vast improvement over the original. With a confident smile, he tests the feel of his upgraded blade. It cuts through the air with a satisfying and powerful hum. He knows that with this sword, he already has a significant head start. The sounds of the outside world begin to filter into his private room. A voice calls out, summoning everyone from their safe houses. It's time for Qin Feng to leave his sanctuary and face the killing world. With his upgraded sword in hand, Qin Feng steps out to face his new reality. The sky is filled with prehistoric beasts, a grim welcome to Beginner Village 911. The villagers gather in the central square, the grim reality of their task setting in. Panic gives way to despair as the 7-day time limit sinks in for the crowd. The survivors begin comparing their talents, revealing a sea of low-rank abilities. More F-rank skills are revealed, none of which inspire confidence against the unknown. A brave or perhaps foolish man calls for volunteers to scout the world outside. But Qin Feng knows what lies beyond the village gate, a world of slaughter. All eyes are on the swirling portal, the gateway to their deadly exam. The question is answered when one unlucky soul gets a helpful push from behind. The first volunteer vanishes into the portal, leaving the crowd to wonder what fate befell him. But another man steps forward, shattering the ground with a single powerful strike. The crowd immediately recognizes him as Wang Qiang, a man with a 1-star combat rating. Desperate for a leader, the survivors flock to him, eager to know his talent. He seems to enjoy the sudden fame, playing coy for just a moment. He then proudly reveals his D-rank talent, Strength Berserk, which triples his power. From the sidelines, Qin Feng does the math, realizing this easily makes Wang Qiang a top contender. The crowd's admiration grows, putting another man with a similar talent on the spot. But his E-rank skill pales in comparison, and just like that, Lord Wang is born. And the new village celebrity soaks it all in, his ego inflating with every cheer. Wang Qiang reflects on his life of training, believing this world is his true calling. As the group ventures out, whispers of the other high-ranker Liu Xuan fill the air. But Wang Qiang scoffs at the idea, convinced that raw power is the only thing that matters. He addresses the crowd, volunteering to be the first to face the dangers ahead. With his sword drawn, he prepares to lead the charge into the unknown forest. His followers erupt in cheers, their hopes now resting entirely on their new leader. He activates his talent, Strength Berserk, and a powerful aura envelops him. But not everyone is impressed. A few observers note the foolishness of his bravado. The path ahead is dark and foreboding, a silent testament to the dangers within. Alone in the woods, Wang Qiang vows to prove he's the true boss of this village. But his bravado quickly fades as he senses a presence lurking in the shadows. He whirls around, convinced a ferocious beast is stalking him through the trees. And he's right, but the creature that appears is not what anyone would have expected. A cold sweat breaks out as he realizes the threat is standing right behind him. The ferocious beast is a monstrous rabbit with glowing red eyes and a bad attitude. And just like that, a system-wide alert announces the death of their new Lord Wang. A follow-up message clarifies that a level 1 beast has a 3-star combat rating. The crowd's hope shatters, realizing their strongest member was killed by the weakest enemy. Qin Feng analyzes the data, noting that even with a talent, Wang Qiang was no match. He realizes the village's protective shield is only a temporary reprieve from the slaughter. Amidst the panic, some try to reason, believing there must be a way to win. The fear of death galvanizes the survivors into action, calling for unity and strength in numbers. A new would-be leader emerges, rallying people to his side with promises of teamwork. But the talents on display are far from impressive, a collection of low-rank skills. One of the first teams ventures into the woods, their faces a mixture of fear and resolve. As he prepares to move out alone, Qin Feng is suddenly approached from behind. A man with a small shield offers him a spot on his team, a gesture of goodwill. But Qin Feng coldly rejects the offer, choosing to walk his own path. He knows that for now, his SSS-ranked talent must remain his most guarded secret. He waits patiently, letting the other teams serve as cannon fodder before making his move. With the cannon fodder cleared out, Qin Feng decides it's finally time to move. He steps through the portal, his upgraded sword ready for its first real test. He emerges into a dark, twisted forest, a world designed for slaughter. He half jokes to himself, expecting a dinosaur to pop out at any moment. Instead, he finds the bloody aftermath of a battle and a level 1 giant rodent. He quickly assesses the threat, knowing a 3-star beast is far beyond his 1-star rating. So he stays hidden in the tall grass, observing the creature from a safe distance. But he notices the beast is severely injured, its legs already broken by a previous fight. This is the opportunity he was waiting for, a wounded target for an easy first kill. He closes the distance with calculated steps, preparing to strike his helpless prey. Elsewhere, another player with a power-boosting talent charges in recklessly. He lands a dual sword strike, hoping to overwhelm the beast with brute force. But his attack is met with a vicious counterswipe that shatters his arm. The two lock eyes, a battle of primal fury against desperate human will. But Qin Feng knows better, believing an animal's instincts can be exploited. However, this creature seems to possess a cunning that defies that logic. With a powerful downward slash, he brings his upgraded sword upon the beast. The blade finds its mark, delivering a decisive and electrifying final blow. The giant rodent lets out a final roar as its life force begins to fade. And as it dies, Qin Feng's hand begins to glow, his true power activating. The beast's very essence is ripped from its body by Qin Feng's talent. He reflects on the close call, vowing to never underestimate an enemy again. The creature's body begins to dematerialize, leaving nothing behind. He's caught off guard as a strange energy flows directly into him. A system message confirms the kill, and he feels a surge of revitalizing energy. But before he can process it, another notification pops up demanding his attention. Elsewhere, another player searches the dense forest, lamenting the difficulty of finding corpses. He reveals his talent, a morbid ability to track corpses by their stench. This power also allows him to sense living beasts, giving him an edge in avoiding danger. He lays his twin swords down, confident that his unique talent is the key to survival. A system notification confirms his SSS-ranked talent is at work. Endless extraction. The twin sword wielder calculates his own strength, believing his talents push him to a 2-star rating. Qin Feng recalls upgrading his sword, realizing the system's 1-star rating doesn't reflect his true power. The other player comes to a similar conclusion, deciding not to trust the system's numbers. With his sword sheathed, he prepares to venture deeper into the forest. His eyes narrow with intense focus as he prepares to use his unique skill. A system message confirms the activation of his enhanced sense of smell. He closes his eyes, concentrating his power to scan the surrounding area. His senses expand outwards, creating a vortex of energy to detect his prey. His unique perception reveals the lingering trails of unseen forces in the air. His senses flare to life, a torrent of information flooding his mind. But the amplified stench of death and decay is almost too much to bear. He forces himself to adapt, to filter the overwhelming sensory input. With newfound resolve, he focuses his power, searching for a specific trail. He pushes past the rot and decay, honing in on a much fainter scent. It's not the smell of a beast, but the simple, earthy scent of mud. Elsewhere, another player is locked in a desperate struggle for survival. The beast roars with fury, unleashing a powerful, energized swipe. Its attack slams into the earth, sending the player flying backward. But this was all part of the plan, a signal for a hidden ally to strike. A team of 4 players swarms a giant rodent in a desperate, coordinated attack. The group's leader and his ally fight with grim determination, a battle for their lives. A system message confirms their victory, but a survivor recounts their costly encounter. They stand over their prize, but the victory is bittersweet, paid for with 2 lives. Their leader rallies them, urging the group to finish off the other wounded beast. From the grass, Qin Feng connects the dots he just extracted from their fallen comrades. Knowing he just stole their kill, he decides it's time to disappear before they notice. He activates one of his newly acquired talents, speed enhancement. With a burst of speed, he vanishes into the forest, offering a less than sincere apology. He embraces the brutal truth of this world. Survival is the only virtue that matters. The world blurs into a vortex of light as he puts his new speed to the test. While others blindly fought, Qin Feng spent hours gathering crucial intelligence. He's cataloged the local wildlife, starting with the surprisingly dangerous giant rodent. He also identifies the bloodfang rabbit, a creature with a proven track record for murder. The prairie gray wolf makes the list, another predator in this brutal ecosystem. And finally, the berserk boar and the highly venomous 9-ringed snake complete his list. He finds another berserk boar, attempting to extract from it for the 4th time. But a system notification pops up, informing him that the extraction has failed. Well, that's a new and inconvenient wrinkle in his plan for world domination. The system clarifies the new rule. He can only extract from the same species 3 times. He realizes he's maxed out his extractions on most beasts, leaving only 1 viable target. His search leads him to the body of another fallen player, a casualty of the exam. He notes that while 7 have died, this is the first corpse he's found, a rare opportunity. Without hesitation, he activates his SSS rank talent on the fallen player. The gamble pays off, granting him an E-rank talent, vision enhancement. He checks his stats, seeing his collection of low-rank talents has pushed him to a 2-star rating. With his newfound power, he's confident he can now take on a level 1 beast all by himself. But just as his confidence swells, a strange purple mist drifts through the forest. His enhanced senses immediately pick up on the unique scent carried by the wind. It's the exact smell he was looking for, the venomous 9-ringed snake. Talk about a convenient delivery service. With his new speed enhancement, Qin Feng rockets through the forest, a blur of motion. But amidst the venom, his enhanced senses pick up another scent, something sweet and floral. The trail leads him to the source, the massive snake, coiled protectively around a glowing plant. He takes cover behind a tree, his eyes locked on the prize, confirming his suspicions. It's the same alluring fragrance he detected before, now much stronger and more distinct. He deduces that such a powerful beast would only guard an item of immense value. He recalls his research. This is the strongest level 1 beast and a source of rare energy points. A confident smirk spreads across his face. This isn't just a hunt, it's a jackpot. But the beast is no simple-minded creature. Its intelligent eyes scan the surrounding trees. And just like that, his cover is blown, the snake's gaze locking directly onto him. A single bead of sweat is the only sign of his unease, as the predator's eyes lock onto him. The snake lunges with blinding speed, a blur of red scales and deadly intent. But as it crashes through his hiding spot, Qin Feng notices something strange. It's moving too slow. He quickly deduces the beast must be digesting a recent meal, a fatal mistake on its part. Gripping his sword, he sees not a threat, but a golden opportunity to strike. He leaps into the air, aiming a decisive blow at the creature's vulnerable head. With a powerful roar, he brings all his strength down upon the beast. But his upgraded blade sparks uselessly against its impossibly tough scales, and his moment of overconfidence is met with a brutal tail whip to the face. He's sent crashing into the ground, the force of the impact rattling his very bones. He cries out in agony as the earth shatters beneath him from the sheer force. The snake lunges, its massive jaws ready to swallow him whole. But he activates a new talent, Power Frenzy, and meets the attack head-on. The beast thrashes wildly, flinging him through the air like a rag doll. Yet even inside the jaws of death, Qin Feng remains impossibly calm. He unleashes a furious storm of slashes, tearing the beast apart from the inside. Standing over the remains, he calculates his gains, already focused on leveling up. He admits his victory was pure luck, thanks to the snake's post-meal sluggishness. Curiosity gets the better of him as he prepares to see what was on the menu. He slices open the beast's stomach and the contents confirm his suspicions. The contents are revealed. The snake's last meal was another human player. Elsewhere, another player reflects on the brutal, predatory nature of this new world. Back with Qin Feng, he activates his talent on the unfortunate player's remains. Not only does he get another talent, but the duplicate causes it to upgrade. He processes the new information, realizing the true potential of his SSS rank ability. He deduces that stacking identical talents is the key to unlocking their hidden power. He activates his new skill, the Eye of True Sight, for the very first time. His new vision instantly analyzes the glowing plant, revealing it to be a valuable item. With this power, he knows he can identify and gather resources far more efficiently. And of course, the first order of business is to immediately eat the mysterious alien fruit. A surge of raw energy courses through his body as he consumes the fruit. The system confirms a massive boost to his physique and complete poison immunity. He calculates the gain, realizing the fruit alone was worth 4 beast extractions. But his curiosity isn't satisfied. He wonders what secrets the plant itself holds. His Eye of True Sight reveals the plant's nature, a spiritual herb that will soon wither away. Unwilling to let such a rare resource go to waste, he decides to extract from it. His SSS rank talent rips the very essence from the herb, condensing it into a golden orb. He smirks, realizing even the worthless plant held a power equal to a monster kill. Without hesitation, he consumes the essence, pushing his power to its current limit. His stats reflect the incredible growth, officially placing him at the peak of the 2-star level. Qin Feng takes a moment to appreciate his progress, realizing he's now a legitimate threat. With a new plan in mind, he sets his sights on one last extraction before moving on. His resolve hardens. He'll seek out new lands and new prey to ensure his survival. But his moment of reflection is shattered by a sudden high-speed projectile attack. His enhanced senses kick in, instantly identifying the direction of the ambush. He weaves through a barrage of energy attacks, confirming he's not alone in the forest. With incredible agility, he leaps to a high branch, narrowly avoiding a powerful blast. He looks down to find another dead snake, realizing its blood masked the scent of his attacker. The attacker reveals himself, a D-rank talent user named Lei Yu, rallying his own team. As the man slays the beast, he reflects on his dwindling team, a harsh reminder of this world's attrition. Lei Yu urges his team forward, telling them to finish the beast while it's vulnerable. With a unified battle cry, the remaining 6 members charge in to overwhelm the snake. From the shadows, Qin Feng tests his Eye of True Sight, analyzing the living beast's stats. He's surprised to see a drop rate, realizing monsters can drop items, however slim the chance. This new information adds another layer to his understanding of this deadly game, but his observation is cut short as he's forced to block a sudden, unseen attack. The other team finally slays the beast, and the system distributes energy points based on effort. One member complains about his meager reward, a harsh reality check on his contribution. He's quickly shut down, reminded that in this world you only get what you earn. Qin Feng observes the system's logic, noting how it encourages teamwork, but dilutes the reward. Elsewhere, the twin sword wielder senses a disturbance, wondering what's happening. Back with the other team, their leader Lei Yu is surrounded by a strange green aura. He announces his level up, and his followers erupt in celebration for their new level 2 leader. From his hiding spot, Qin Feng decides to test his Eye of True Sight on a human target. The scan reveals Lei Yu's stats, which have all doubled to around 20. But Qin Feng is thoroughly unimpressed by the so-called level 2 power boost. He quickly calculates that even with a D-rank talent, Lei Yu is barely a 3-star threat. In contrast, Qin Feng knows his own collection of skills puts him at a 4-star level, easily surpassing the team leader. Meanwhile, the other team rallies to avenge their fallen comrade, Chen Jun. A survivor explains how Chen Jun was swallowed by one snake while he bravely lured the other away. Lei Yu, crackling with energy, rallies his team to avenge their fallen comrade. From the shadows, Qin Feng realizes he just stole their revenge kill. Awkward. He tries to make a quiet exit, but a rustle in the grass gives him away. The team's archer whips around, her bow drawn and aimed at the sound. A razor-sharp arrow embeds itself in the tree, a hair's breadth from his face. A voice calls out his name with a strange plea, but Qin Feng continues on his path. The team dismisses him as strange, confident he'll regret going it alone. Their bravado evaporates as they stumble upon the scene of the slaughter. The beast has been utterly dismantled, its corpse surrounding their fallen friend. A trembling hand reaches down, a silent testament to their shock and grief. One of the survivors analyzes the scene, deducing the kill happened just 15 minutes ago. Elsewhere, the twin sword wielder is locked in a fierce battle of his own. He struggles against a massive wolf, a beast far stronger than any he's faced before. But with a final desperate push, he manages to bring the creature down. He declares his victory, acknowledging the beast's power but asserting his own superiority. With cold determination, he prepares to deliver the final decisive strike. The system confirms the kill, rewarding him with a level up and a huge boost to all his stats. A surge of raw power courses through him, the tangible feeling of leveling up. He marvels at the sensation, feeling his wounds heal and his energy completely restored. And to top it all off, the system announces he's won a loot box for his troubles. The twin sword wielder holds his prize, a rare treasure chest glowing with potential. He sends a prayer to the system gods, hoping for a game-changing rank 2 weapon. With bated breath, he opens the chest, unleashing a blinding flash of light. A massive pillar of energy erupts, signaling a reward of incredible power. And from the light emerges a brand new blade, the Blood Wolf War Sword. The system confirms its rank 2 status, a weapon that not only cuts but tears flesh. But elsewhere, a new system-wide alert sends another village into a rage. The system announces a competition, because apparently this death game wasn't hard enough. And the opposing village's champion reveals himself, a level 4 vampire named Baron Edward. He boasts about his nocturnal power, confident he can crush Village 911 all by himself. But their new vampire overlord seems to be having a bit of a coughing fit. Elsewhere, the twin sword wielder reels from the news that vampires were real all along. Qin Feng realizes the system has segregated them by country, questioning its ultimate goal. He foresees a future where these small skirmishes escalate into full-blown world wars. To keep pace with this new threat, he knows he must hunt in far more dangerous territory. Meanwhile, a flash of light tears through the darkness of the forest. The twin sword wielder uses his enhanced vision, turning the dead of night into day. With a system-provided map, he navigates the hunting grounds with deadly precision. His journey leads him to a level 4 zone, home to a pack of vicious feline beasts. And without a moment's hesitation, he unleashes a whirlwind of steel upon his prey. Meanwhile, Qin Feng has found his own high-level prey, a humanoid tiger beast. But the creature's speed is far greater than anything he's ever faced before. He's forced onto the defensive, blocking a ferocious aerial assault from above. His eye of true sight reveals the threat, a level 5, 8-star golden-eyed tiger hybrid. Despite the massive power gap, Qin Feng still manages to bring the beast down. He admits his enhanced senses saved him and promptly extracts 2 more strength points. He examines its humanoid form, theorizing that stronger beasts are evolving. But as he analyzes his kill, a sinister presence begins to fill the forest. His senses pick up a familiar scent, hinting at another valuable spiritual plant nearby. He decides to hunt for beasts and treasures at the same time. Efficiency is key in a death game, after all. The trail leads him to a massive bear-like beast which seems to be guarding a spiritual flower. His eye of true sight scans the scene, and the resulting data confirms his worst fears. The scan reveals a level 6, 12-star Raging Bear King guarding a Tier 2 dragon fruit. He weighs the risk, noting the beast's insane power level and the fruit's high drop rate. Believing the beast is asleep, he launches a surprise attack from the treetops. But the creature reacts with impossible speed, swatting his attack aside with a single swipe. He hits the ground hard, realizing he completely underestimated the creature's terrifying speed. The Bear King looms over him, and to his utter shock it speaks with chilling intelligence. Its head splits into 3, offering to spare his life if he just walks away. Talk about a generous boss monster. But Qin Feng just smirks, unimpressed by the display, and flips the generous offer right back at it. The Bear King roars in fury, apparently not a fan of constructive criticism. It lunges forward with blinding speed, a blur of claws and fury. But Qin Feng holds his ground, channeling all his power into his blade. He plants his feet firmly, bracing himself for the devastating impact. His sword meets the beast's paw in a cataclysmic clash of force. The creature's heads reel back, shocked by the human's unexpected strength. Seizing the opening, he leaps into the air for a powerful downward strike. His blade finds its mark, slicing clean through one of the beast's heads. The remaining heads cry out in rage and grief as their brother falls. But the victory was costly. He admits that was all the strength he could muster. The beast enters a berserk state, its power amplified by a draconic aura. He realizes the fruit has given the beast a fraction of a dragon's power. He braces himself, channeling every last bit of his own energy for the coming storm. But he knows its defenses are now impenetrable. A direct attack is useless. The beast's claws descend in a blur of unstoppable fury. He's caught off guard, realizing he's too slow to evade the next blow. The Bear King mocks his arrogance, questioning how he ever thought he could win. It lunges forward, ready to teach him the ultimate price for his defiance. But just as all hope seems lost, another player's blade ignites with fiery power. And in a flash of fire and steel, a new challenger saves Qin Feng at the last second. The newcomer stands victorious, his flaming sword confirming he broke the beast's defense. From the shadows, Qin Feng assesses the fight, already anticipating the talent he'll extract. But the other player is confused, wondering why the system hasn't announced his victory. A horrifying realization begins to dawn on him as he stares at the unmoving beast. He cries out in alarm, realizing the raging Bear King isn't dead yet. But the final blow comes from an unexpected source as Qin Feng swoops in for the kill, and the system notifications flood in for him, confirming the kill, the points, and a treasure chest. As he extracts from the corpse, Qin Feng reflects on the eye-opening experience. The system reveals his prize, a Grade 2 set of Bear King's battle armor. He equips his new gear, feeling the surge of power from its impressive defensive stats. He reaches for the dragon blood fruit, ready to claim his hard-won prize. The extraction is a success, granting him an E-rank talent, Blood Evolution. But elsewhere, the other player is writhing in agony after consuming his own prize. He finds himself in a strange realm, facing a massive golden dragon. The dragon grabs him, ready to crush the life from his body. He tries to rationalize it as a mere hallucination brought on by the fruit. But he refuses to be broken, fighting back against the mental assault. In a fit of madness, he decides if he's going to be eaten, he'll eat the dragon first. Meanwhile, Qin Feng calmly absorbs the fruit's power, gaining a wisp of a dragon's bloodline. His stats skyrocket, pushing his combat rating to a terrifying 13-star peak. Elsewhere, the twin sword wielder pushes through the fruit's effects, needing one last kill to win the challenge. But at that very moment, the system announces the brutal consequences for Novice Village 137. Their champion's failure plunges the village into chaos, with everyone turning on the vampire lord. Because back in the forest, it was Qin Feng's kill that secured the victory for Village 911. He wastes no time, immediately extracting from another fallen beast to bolster his power. But his victory lap is interrupted by a private message from another player with a curious offer. Qin Feng realizes the offered token is a game changer, an opportunity he simply can't refuse. With a decisive tap, he agrees to the trade, sealing the high-stakes deal. The system explains the token's rules, a high-risk, high-reward gamble for the village's strongest player. He now understands why the other player was so eager to pass off this cursed opportunity. The public channel explodes with praise, anointing Qin Feng as their new leader. He reflects on his newfound fame, enjoying the prestige that comes with being the village hero. He addresses his followers, telling them to rest and prepare for the next battle tomorrow. But alone in the forest, he admits this isn't about being thoughtful or tired. With his current power, he could fight for days on end without needing a moment's rest. His real plan is to hunt in the level 10 zone, maximizing his points before the next gamble. A system notification confirms another successful kill, adding to his ever-growing power. He knows the low-level zones offer meager rewards. The real prize is in the deepest part of the forest. But as he arrives at his destination, he finds the landscape strangely barren and quiet. According to his map, the level 10 beast area should be right here, but there's nothing in sight. Even his enhanced senses find nothing, leading him to question if the system itself is broken. But the ground itself answers his question, collapsing into a massive bottomless pit. He plummets into the darkness, the frictionless walls offering no escape from the sudden fall. Realizing the impact will be fatal, he ignites his hands, desperately trying to slow his descent. The fiery propulsion gives him control, a makeshift jetpack in a world gone mad. But as he nears the ground, he senses a powerful presence, far beyond anything he's faced before. He lands in a twisted forest, the overwhelming stench of death masking the beast's locations. He reaches out to a petrified figure, only for his hand to phase through the strange illusion. He looks upon a ruined settlement, deducing it's an abandoned village that failed its trial. The sight is a grim reminder of this world's one true rule: get strong or get erased. He's met by an army of armored wolf-headed guardians who warn him he's trespassing. They introduce themselves as the soldiers of this place, where entry means certain death. With their spears leveled, they prepare to execute the sentence on their latest intruder. His eye of true sight reveals the terrifying truth. These are Hell's soldiers beyond level 15. Trapped and outmatched, Qin Feng readies a new blade, tempted by the high drop rate. He channels his power, hoping his new Grade 4 weapon is enough to turn the tide. His attack connects, shattering one of the guardians in a blast of pure energy. Elsewhere, a mysterious voice tells someone they can finally open their eyes. In another part of the world, a player gifts a protective ring to his female companion. She accepts the ring with a blush, surprised by the sudden, intimate gesture. He clarifies his generosity, telling her she's still bait, but her death would be inconvenient. She follows him into the forest, believing his harsh words hide a softer, caring nature. The man puts his plan into action, using a blinding poison to incapacitate a level 12 raging mammoth. His fiery attack cuts through the beast's defenses, felling it in a single decisive blow. His companion stands over the kill, explaining the beast's weakness to prove her own knowledge. But her leader seems less than impressed by her battlefield analysis. Their victory is short-lived as an entire tribe of mammoth men arrives seeking vengeance. The player just smirks, welcoming the arrival of his new test subjects. The enraged beasts charge forward, vowing to crush the humans who killed their kin. But they run headfirst into a trap, as massive thorny vines erupt from the ground to ensnare them. The thorny vines pierce flesh and bone, a brutal and effective trap. The player unleashes a whirlwind of blades, cutting down the helpless beasts. He explains it was all part of his plan, having predicted their vengeful arrival. And just like that, he reaps the rewards, farming the entire tribe for a massive point boost. Elsewhere, the twin sword wielder faces a similar beast, noting its impressive power. His scan reveals a far greater threat, a 21-star mammoth guardian, a true mutant. Undeterred, he channels his own power, his blade crackling with raw energy. He meets the beast's charge head-on in a brutal contest of strength. The sheer force of the impact sends him reeling, his arm going numb from the blow. But he sees an opening, knowing its tough hide isn't entirely unbreakable. The mammoth guardian roars in defiance, its body glowing with a golden aura of power. But the deep gash on its back begins to seal itself, muscle and sinew regenerating in real time. It boasts of a royal blessing, a regenerative power that makes it virtually immortal. Must be nice. The twin sword wielder just smirks, his mind racing with the possibility of stealing that power. He calmly raises his blade, questioning if this impressive regeneration has any limits. With a burst of speed, he closes the distance, ready to test that theory firsthand. He becomes a whirlwind of steel, unleashing a relentless barrage of slashes against the beast. He notices a change in the fight. The creature's attacks are losing both speed and power. He calculates the regeneration rate, noting how different wounds heal at different speeds. He sees his opening. The beast's healing has slowed, and he dives in for the final blow. He calls out the beast's bluff, noting its regeneration is finally hitting its limit. With a confident smirk, he declares the king's blessing has officially expired. A system notification confirms he's enchanted his blade with hellfire, adding +100 damage. The mammoth guardian makes one last desperate charge, engulfed in a vortex of blue flame. With glowing eyes and grim determination, the twin sword wielder prepares to end the fight. His enchanted blade meets the beast's axe, slicing through it with unstoppable force. The system confirms the kill, rewarding him with a massive boost of energy and prestige points. But far away, another creature's eyes snap open, feeling the death of its subordinate. A shaman-like figure rushes to his king's side, sensing his master's sudden distress. On a lavish throne, a tiger-like king announces that one of his loyal guards has just been killed. Elsewhere, the female companion seems troubled, her thoughts drifting to Qin Feng. But her leader is focused on his own prize, equipping a new pair of defensive bracers. He tests his new power, shattering the earth with a single devastating punch. She senses a sudden shift in his mood, wondering what could have soured his victory. He's frustrated, unable to extract the beast's regenerative ability for himself. The failure leaves him completely baffled, unable to understand the limits of his own power. But then a new plan forms. If the minion won't yield its power, he'll take it from the ruler. His companion seems less than thrilled with this new, incredibly reckless plan. Shocking. They spy on a pair of mammoth men, trying to gather intelligence on their new target. She warns him of the overwhelming numbers, but he seems determined to face the tribe alone. She suggests a stealthy rescue, hoping to save their leader and escape to the village. But the twin sword wielder rejects her plan, his own power flaring to life. He directs her attention to the celebrating beasts, urging her to look closer. He then points to their captured comrades, seemingly left vulnerable and exposed. He explains that while the situation looks like a golden opportunity, it might be a trap. He lays out the logic. The king is already suspicious after losing his first squad. Their captured leader, Lei Yu, can only wait for a rescue that may never come. The twin sword wielder deduces the lack security and celebration are just for show. He concludes it's all an elaborate performance, a carefully constructed trap to lure them in. She struggles to accept the truth, shocked that these beasts are smarter than your average player. He explains that underestimating these intelligent beasts is a fatal mistake. He tells her to stay back, preparing to walk into the danger all by himself. But he just smirks, declaring it would be rude not to spring a trap made just for him. She calls out his name, revealing the twin sword wielder is none other than Qin Feng. With his identity now clear, Qin Feng calmly walks towards the enemy encampment. The beasts spot him immediately, their celebration turning to hungry anticipation. They mock his foolishness, eager to see how their king will dispose of the human. A thunderous stomp shakes the earth as the tribe's leader makes his presence known. He stands alone before the entire tribe, a path cleared for his audience with the king. The tribe whispers in disbelief, certain this skimpy human must have cheated to win. Qin Feng's eyes glow with power, his aura flaring to life. The mammoth guards recoil, stunned by the sheer force of his presence. On his throne, the mammoth king greets him, as if expecting his arrival. His eye of true sight reveals the king's stats, a 25-star beast which is apparently underwhelming. The king acknowledges that humans can be charming, a skull resting ominously at his feet. But his tone shifts, recounting the deaths of his people at Qin Feng's hands. Qin Feng remains calm, knowing this was a trap and a simple execution isn't on the table. The king agrees, admitting Qin Feng is far more valuable than the soldiers he lost. He even expresses his admiration for the human who outsmarted him. And then comes the offer, a chance to join the Mammoth King's side. Qin Feng is completely stunned by the offer to betray his own kind. The Mammoth King seems to have expected this, calmly confirming his decision. With his blade drawn, Qin Feng declares he will never abandon humanity to become a traitor. But he adds a condition, turning the tables with a challenge. He'll submit only if the king can defeat him. Elsewhere, the story shifts to a stern warrior in samurai armor, receiving a message. A man named Amir Khan from another village contacts this new player, Mr. Miyamoto. Miyamoto listens intently, his expression hardening as he senses the urgency. The message is a warning about a fast-rising player from Village 911, a threat to their own nation's dominance. This is the 5th such call he's received. Clearly, Qin Feng's reputation is spreading. His followers believe Miyamoto's A-rank talent can easily crush this new threat, seeking revenge for their ally. But Miyamoto simply crushes the token, dismissing the threat with absolute confidence. The system interrupts, forcing a resource betting match between Village 5 and Village 911. Back in the encampment, the Mammoth King accepts the challenge with a devastating swing. Qin Feng meets the blow, but his blade sparks uselessly against the king's tough hide. He realizes he can't even test for regeneration if he can't draw first blood. The king leaps into the air, preparing to bring his full weight down on his opponent. In response, Qin Feng summons a physical barrier, bracing for the inevitable impact. But the king's attack shatters the shield and the very earth beneath his feet. He's thrown back, realizing the barrier he extracted is no match for its original owner. Impressed by his potential, the king offers him one last chance to surrender and join his clan. Qin Feng is pushed to his knees, but he knows he still has a backup plan. He rises, crackling with energy, and turns the king's offer into a challenge. The Mammoth King roars in fury, declaring that he alone will be the king. The king's patience shatters, enraged by the human's sheer audacity. With eyes of fire, he prepares to unleash the full power of the earth itself. Qin Feng is caught off guard as the very ground beneath him turns against him. He's trapped in a swirling vortex of sand, a powerful earth-based ability. But he unleashes a new power, firing hellfire spikes from below. Because of course he can do that now. The spikes slam into the king's chest, catching the massive beast by surprise. Qin Feng watches intently, confirming his hellfire-imbued attack has landed. The impact sends a powerful shockwave tearing across the battlefield. But the king's counterattack sends Qin Feng skidding backward across the dirt. A wave of pure force erupts, launching him helplessly into the air. The Mammoth King is shocked, questioning how a human could even scratch him. But Qin Feng just smirks, promising to do it all over again. He unleashes a massive torrent of pure blue hellfire upon his foe. The king is engulfed in the flames, forced to brace against the searing heat. The ethereal fire crackles against his skin, slowly eating away at his defenses. The beast cries out in shock, realizing the attack is actually causing damage. Turns out he's not so invincible after all. Qin Feng realizes he's finally broken through, noting the hellfire is slowing the king's regeneration. The Mammoth King roars, shattering the very ground in a show of raw power. He hurls a massive boulder, forcing Qin Feng to stand against the coming avalanche. With a mighty swing, he rips a chunk of the earth from its foundation. Qin Feng now faces a literal mountain crashing down upon him. He uses the king's own power against him, attempting to solidify the earth. But the system informs him his stamina bar is empty. Talk about terrible timing. The king admits his admiration but declares his patience has officially run out. On his knees, Qin Feng realizes his hellfire ability has completely drained him. The king unleashes another wave of telekinesis, promising to inflict true pain. From the sidelines, his companion watches in terror, helpless to stop the slaughter. She's consumed by guilt, believing she's the reason Qin Feng is about to die. But a voice in her head cuts through the panic, telling her to calm down. It reminds her that losing composure is a death sentence in this world. The voice explains that spirit herbs are the key to instant recovery in battle. The weight of her helplessness pins her to the ground, lost in thought. And then it clicks. She knows how to save him, a desperate plan forming in her mind. She sends a village-wide SOS, begging for spirit herbs to save their champion. The village erupts, their loyalty and self-interest aligning to support their hero. On the brink of defeat, Qin Feng is suddenly showered with gifts from his new fan club. He crushes a spirit fruit, ready to absorb its power and turn the tables. The Mammoth King demands to know what trick he's pulling as Qin Feng's stats skyrocket. The king roars for an answer, but Qin Feng is busy absorbing a buffet of power-ups. A massive column of blue hellfire erupts from the ground, a sign of his full recovery. The king braces himself, shocked by the sudden and overwhelming surge of power. Wreathed in blue flames, Qin Feng calmly asks what the king thinks he's doing. His eyes narrow with cold determination, his intentions becoming terrifyingly clear. He soars through the air, preparing to bring his full restored power down on the beast. He declares his intent to kill, his blade clashing with the king in a shower of sparks. A system reminder confirms the beast is still weakened by his previous hellfire attack. He appears behind the beast, offering a sarcastic apology for his missed attack. The king stares in disbelief, unable to comprehend how a mere human could possess such power. But Qin Feng stands his ground, his blade ready to deliver the final judgment. He admits his original plan was a quick execution, but now he's changed his mind. The remaining members of the tribe can only watch in horror as their king is overwhelmed. His SSS-ranked talent activates, ripping the very essence of the king's power from his body. The system explodes with notifications, confirming the kill, a level up, and a massive resource bonus for his village. The king's death sends the rest of the tribe into a vengeful, suicidal frenzy. Surrounded and outnumbered, Qin Feng scoffs at their attempt to win through sheer numbers. He immediately allocates his new attribute points, turning the tide with a fresh surge of power. His new stats are revealed, a dizzying list of talents that push his combat rating to a staggering 23 stars. He soars through the air, reveling in the intoxicating rush of his newfound power. With a confident grin, he challenges the entire tribe to come and get some. Elsewhere, the fiery swordsman is also busy, cutting his way through his own mammoth problem. The beasts attempt to use tactics, planning an ambush for the lone human. But their target mocks their numbers, carving a path through their ranks with ease. One of the warriors roars, its body glowing as it prepares for a final desperate charge. But back with Qin Feng, his eyes narrow, his own power reaching its absolute peak. He calmly summons his hellfire, preparing to unleash a truly devastating attack. A tidal wave of blue flame erupts, incinerating the entire battlefield in an instant. And the system rewards his overkill, confirming another high-level kill and a new treasure chest. But amidst the carnage, Qin Feng spots the true leader, a mammoth shaman. He decides to cut the head off the snake, targeting the shaman directly. The shaman is caught completely off guard by Qin Feng's blinding speed. But another mammoth leaps in, sacrificing itself to protect its leader. He's shocked by the beast's loyalty, realizing the shaman's control is absolute. The system confirms the kill, and the shaman can only stare in disbelief. Panicked, the shaman orders the rest of his forces to charge the human. But it's just a distraction. The shaman flees, vowing to return with a bigger army. With the battle over, the survivors he rescued approach him with deep gratitude. They offer him their meager resources, hailing him as their village's hero. He internally judges their offerings, noting the low quality of their gifts. The survivors' faces fall, their humble tribute suddenly feeling inadequate. But Qin Feng accepts the spirit fruits, a gesture of goodwill to his new followers. However, one item in the pile makes its presence known with an obnoxious squawk. The bizarre sound interrupts the moment, leaving everyone momentarily confused. The owner quickly apologizes, trying to explain away the useless, noisy toy. But Qin Feng's mind is already racing, seeing a strange new potential in the item. His eye of true sight confirms it has zero combat power, but is a master of noise pollution. Without a second thought, he activates his talent, ready to extract its unique properties. He sends them on their way, and they leave convinced he's a benevolent leader, not a ruthless strategist. The female companion looks on, certain he's destined to become the strongest. She accepts her place among the masses, content to watch his rise from a distance. But his attention shifts to two captured Naga, wondering what to do with his new prisoners. They plead for their lives, insisting they're harmless dancers who've never hurt anyone. His analysis confirms it. With zero combat ability, they're surprisingly weak. His focus then turns to a strange, spiky vine he'd noticed earlier. Recognizing it as a plant from Earth, he wastes no time extracting its essence. He then offers the Naga a simple deal: information in exchange for their freedom. Overcome with relief, the two captives quickly agree to his terms. As they depart, he decides against extracting their talents. Even he has standards, apparently. The Naga begin to sing, and Qin Feng is immediately filled with a deep spiritual regret. With the battlefield cleared, he plans to cash in his rewards before finding the next mission. But a sudden system alert brings his victory lap to a screeching halt. The public channel is on fire with accusations that he cheated to win the challenge. He realizes the losing villages are trying to slander his name out of pure jealousy. With a cold resolve, he decides to give them the first-hand proof they're asking for. Elsewhere, in a new hunting ground, a thorny appendage strikes the earth with deadly force. The target is a massive ant-like beast, another new species in this deadly world. But it's immediately crushed by a much larger, unseen predator from above. The battlefield is a chaotic free-for-all, with attacks raining down from the sky. The giant ant can only stare in confusion, its simple mind unable to process the attack. A vortex of metallic tendrils erupts, a new power at Qin Feng's command. He reflects on his new earth and metal powers, stronger but a serious drain on his energy. He's surrounded by the swarm, noting their lack of intelligence is balanced by a relentless will. He knows a precise strike to the brain is the only way to put them down for good. He strikes with deadly precision, knowing anything less than a kill shot is useless. The system confirms a dozen kills, but the rewards are surprisingly meager for the effort. He holds up his trophy, realizing this world needs a better form of pest control. A new plan forms in his mind. He needs to gather the entire swarm in one place. He stands on a cliff and taunts the swarm, becoming the perfect bait for his own trap. He drops a lure, and the entire swarm's attention snaps towards the sound. With a unified shriek, the horde begins to scramble up the cliff face. Qin Feng admits their screeching is unsettling, but clearly he's a fan of their music. He stands as the lone target, drawing the entire ravenous swarm towards him. With the trap set, he prepares to unleash a freshly concocted poison upon them. With a confident grin, he unleashes his new chemical weapon on the horde below. A massive explosion of toxic energy blankets the entire cliffside. He watches as a corrosive purple rain falls upon the unsuspecting swarm. The beasts cry out in agony as the potent venom begins to eat away at them. His plan works perfectly, the poison spreading through the ranks like wildfire. The system confirms the mass extermination, and the experience points begin to roll in. Qin Feng smirks, seeing the swarm not as a threat, but as a walking pile of resources. But a system alert interrupts his victory lap, informing him he's already hit the point cap. He brushes it off, his eyes fixed on the promise of an additional prize for winning the bet. But his moment of greed is cut short by a sudden, powerful disturbance in the air. His enhanced senses pick up a new threat, something far more dangerous than the worker ants. A massive armored leg crashes down, shaking the very foundation of the cliff. From the dust emerges a new challenger, a mutated, beetle-like commander of the swarm. His eye of true sight reveals a 23-star beast, a mutated commander with a terrifying list of abilities. The poison he unleashed begins to take its toll, a painful side effect of his own weapon. The commander's massive appendage descends, ready to crush him and the entire cliffside. Realizing his poison is useless, Qin Feng prepares a new plan, summoning metallic spikes from the ground. He unleashes a barrage of piercing projectiles, a storm of metal aimed at the swarm below. The spikes rain down, a deadly shower meant to clear the field and target the commander. But the smaller ants scatter with surprising intelligence, avoiding the deadly assault. Qin Feng just smirks, confident that at this range his aim is absolute. A single massive spike hurtles through the air, aimed directly at the commander's head. but his confidence shatters as he watches his perfect shot go wide. The spike slams into the ground, leaving a massive crater but missing its target completely. The commander appears before him in a blur, its terrifying speed far exceeding his expectations. He realizes the commander is coordinating the swarm, using rocks and scattered movements as a distraction. With his ranged attacks proving ineffective, he decides it's time to switch to close-quarters combat. He leaps down from the cliff, ready to take the fight directly to the swarm's leader. But he realizes too late that the climbing ants were also a diversion for a pincer attack. Now on the ground and surrounded, he faces the massive commander and its relentless horde. But Qin Feng just scoffs, his new armor making him virtually untouchable as he wades into the fray. He cuts them down with ease, the system notifications struggling to keep up with his kill count. His one-man slaughter finally draws the full, undivided attention of the swarm's commander. The horde swarms him, their attacks about as effective as throwing pillows at a tank. He carves a path through them, questioning the source of their unnatural strength and coordination. He realizes their strategy is simple: bury him alive under a mountain of their own bodies. He deduces their hive mind intelligence is focused on a single, overwhelming goal. But they've underestimated his power as a pillar of pure energy erupts from the swarm. The blast clears the field, and the system struggles to keep up with his kill count. He stands untouched in the eye of the storm, absorbing the points from his mass extermination. He taunts the remaining ants, preparing to unleash his true killer move. He leaps into the air, channeling his power into a single, devastating area of effect attack. The attack lands, instantly killing the mutated commander and earning him a nice fame boost. Who knew pest control was so prestigious? He stands over the commander's corpse, wondering why all this commotion hasn't drawn out the real boss. He realizes this was just the welcoming party. The true threat, the Ant Queen, has yet to show her face. His search for the queen leads him to a dark, foreboding cave entrance. And from the oppressive darkness, a pair of glowing, malevolent eyes stare back. The Ant Queen finally reveals herself, a monstrous beast ready to defend her nest. But Qin Feng is unfazed, casually dispatching another guard at the entrance. He calculates his points, realizing his village is just shy of winning the resource bet. With a greedy smirk, he decides to hunt for a few more leftovers to secure the win. But his poison was a bit too effective. The entire canyon is already a graveyard. He confirms his work is done, having completely wiped out the external swarm. With no other choice, he steps forward, ready to venture into the queen's lair. He enters a strange cavern, noting the humid air and the bizarre scent of chocolate. He recalls something he read, connecting the scent to an ant's alarm pheromone, a chemical signal that smells like chocolate, designed to alert the entire colony. With a confident smirk, he realizes the queen has already prepared a warm welcome. He peers into the nest, finding the queen surrounded by her endless brood. But the queen herself is not what he expected. Talk about an interesting evolutionary path. Her loyal subjects scurry about, diligently tending to the next generation of soldiers. The sheer number of eggs reveals the true scale of her reproductive power. But the sight leaves Qin Feng completely stunned, his confidence momentarily shaken. He realizes her endless army makes her one of the 5 great king beasts. And his analysis confirms it. A level 13 30-star beast with a 100% crit chance. The queen's stinger strikes with blinding speed, aimed for a one-hit kill. But Qin Feng's enhanced senses allow him to dodge the fatal blow at the last second. He admits it was a close call. A single moment of hesitation would have been his end. But before he can counter, he's suddenly bound by an unseen psychic force. The Ant Queen unleashes her true power, a telekinetic assault that paralyzes him. At her command, the entire swarm prepares to descend upon their helpless target. But the queen isn't just relying on numbers, she begins to manipulate the environment. She uses the cave's minerals to forge armor for her soldiers. Talk about a DIY army upgrade. But Qin Feng unleashes his own trump card, a massive explosion of pure energy. The blast rips through the swarm, sending shrapnel flying towards the unmoving queen. The shrapnel from his blast rips through the cavern, a storm of metal and stone. But that was just the opening act. Qin Feng prepares for the real finisher. With a final decisive slash, he cuts through the queen's defenses, ending her reign. The attack drains him, but he stands as the sole victor in the silent cavern. The dying queen can only point and cry, a pathetic end for a so-called king beast. He crushes one of her children underfoot, a final, definitive statement of his victory. He then informs the remaining ants that they're not even worth the points to kill. The surviving brood can only buzz angrily, their tiny fury completely meaningless. He even offers them some life advice. get stronger if they ever want revenge. And surprisingly, the little ants seem to be taking his words to heart. With his work done, Qin Feng leaves the surviving ants to ponder their life choices. The system begins to calculate his reward for the mass extermination, but instead of points, a new notification catches him completely off guard. A D-rank mission appears, a quest to become the future village head. The stakes are high. Without a leader, the entire village will be disbanded. He envisions the power that comes with the title, a king in his own right, and by sheer luck he realizes he already holds the key to this new quest. As his rewards pour in, he welcomes his incredible run of good fortune. With a confident grin, he decides the title of village head is his for the taking. But elsewhere, the ground shatters, signaling a new challenge is already underway. A single drop of black blood marks the end of the Guardian's watch. The defeated soldier questions how Qin Feng's power grew so impossibly fast. Qin Feng coldly explains that in just one day, the soldier is no longer a threat. He recalls its claim of being unkillable, his own power flaring as he prepares to test that theory. With its weakness found, he unleashes a devastating beam of energy upon the beast. The system confirms the kill, rewarding him with a fragment of something called the Dark Seal. A new quest appears. Collect 7 crystals, unseal an altar, and kill a demon. Simple enough. Qin Feng clenches his fist, ready to take on this new world-altering challenge. The rewards are immense, offering a massive power boost to the first 10 villages that succeed. But the system informs him he's already the 7th to start the quest. The race is on. He quickly deduces the Blue Star realm must be a reference to his homeworld, Earth. The system confirms 6 other players have already started this quest, turning it into a race. Realizing Earth has other hidden masters, he pushes forward with a new sense of urgency. But his path is blocked by an unexpected and monstrous new guardian. A massive club-wielding beast descends, its shadow falling over the lone challenger. The system then announces that for being so good, his village gets a special prize, double the difficulty. He's immediately slammed by a powerful attack, feeling the sting of this new reward. The beast mocks him, introducing himself as a novice king, ready to execute him. But another player appears, dismissing the beast as trash and revealing himself as the true threat. Qin Feng calmly assesses the new arrival, realizing the battlefield just got a lot more crowded. The system confirms the difficulty spike, revealing a 50-star boss resurrected by dark energy. The newcomer stands over the fallen beast, admitting Qin Feng is stronger than the last opponent. But he warns Qin Feng not to compare him to the beast, dismissing it as mere cannon fodder. Qin Feng just smirks, sarcastically chiding him for being so cruel to his friend. He activates a strange key which erupts in a blinding flash of light. With his own blade drawn, he suggests the newcomer should go apologize immediately. Their weapons collide as the spear wielder scoffs at Qin Feng's low level. He easily dodges the attack, his movements fluid and impossibly fast. But Qin Feng's counter is a fist wreathed in pure, unadulterated power. The blow lands with brutal force, a painful lesson in underestimating your opponent. The spear wielder is sent flying, a brutal answer to his own arrogance. But he rises with a smirk, revealing a hidden power activated by Qin Feng's touch. Qin Feng's arm is instantly encased in ice, a chilling trap sprung by his opponent. The spear wielder prepares to finish the fight, confident his foe is now helpless. Trapped in a prison of ice, Qin Feng is promised a slow and painful end. But even frozen solid, there is no trace of fear on his face. Instead, a cold light reflects in his gaze, a sign that the tables are about to turn. The spear wielder is suddenly impaled from behind, his victory turning to dust. He can only stare in disbelief as his life force begins to fade away. Qin Feng calmly explains the #1 rule of this world: don't touch the main character. The spear wielder's death awakens the true master of this realm. Qin Feng feels the air grow heavy, the demon's roar thickening the mist. And from the mist, new challengers emerge, their footsteps heralding their arrival. His scan reveals an army of resurrected kings, all 54-star puppets of the demon. He does a quick head count, realizing one of the 7 demon followers is missing. The final follower appears behind him, her presence completely hidden from his senses. She smiles serenely, a strange green energy swirling around her with hypnotic grace. Her power washes over him, a mental assault that paralyzes his body and clouds his mind. His consciousness fades, and he finds himself falling into a strange, idyllic illusion. He lands in a beautiful field of flowers, completely disoriented by the mental trap. He questions his new surroundings, a beautiful butterfly fluttering past his face. A serene woman appears before him, her eyes closed in a peaceful trance. She floats in the warm sunlight, an embodiment of tranquility and peace. But as she dances, Qin Feng watches from a distance, lost in the idyllic vision. Back in reality, the female follower holds him captive in a powerful mental prison. She and her masked ally believe they've found his weakness, confident he's already lost. Inside the illusion, a new figure appears, beckoning Qin Feng to come closer. His hand reaches out, on the verge of surrendering to the comforting dream. Seeing their chance, the resurrected kings prepare to strike the helpless hero. A massive axe descends, ready to end Qin Feng's journey while he's trapped in his own mind. But in that final moment, his eyes snap open with cold, calculating clarity. The axe wielder can only stare in shock as his helpless victim turns the tables. And with a single fluid motion, the resurrected king is cut down completely. He immediately pivots, blocking a follow-up attack from another of the demon's puppets. He lands, explaining that an opponent's overconfidence is the perfect time to strike. The remaining followers can only stare in utter disbelief at the sudden turn of events. The illusionist realizes with horror that he was never under her control at all. Realizing they've been played, the remaining three decide to attack him all at once. The mustached warrior leads the charge, his scythe glowing with deadly energy. But their teamwork is no match for a boot to the face. A classic strategy. He catches the scythe, effortlessly halting the mustached man's charge. A single slash sends the warrior crashing into the distant stone ruins. The illusionist moves in, her eyes glowing for another mental assault. But Qin Feng's patience has run out. He's done playing their games. She unleashes a powerful beam of energy, seemingly pinning him to the ground. Meanwhile, the masked follower's own attack cuts through nothing but air. He's baffled, certain his blade should have found its mark. He concludes she's hiding in the petals, a classic, if cliché, ninja trick. But a familiar blue energy beam cuts through the floral distraction. The masked man realizes the petals were never her hiding spot, but a trap. The masked man pays the ultimate price, impaled by spikes from the ground below. Qin Feng lands gracefully among the petals, his part of the trap seemingly complete. But the petals themselves were the real snare, wrapping around his leg like living vines. The dying follower realizes his opponent has both illusion and earth talents, a deadly combo. Qin Feng is suddenly ensnared, pulled into the air by the illusionist's crimson ribbons. She finds him fascinating, questioning how a level 11 player is so impossibly strong. Looking at her fallen comrades, she deduces he must be hiding some incredible secrets. She decides to kill him and let her master extract the truth directly from his memories. But first, she prepares a special punishment for the boy who dared to outsmart her. With a condescending smirk, she slams him into the ground for a little teaching. The ground shatters as she slams him into the earth with brutal force. He struggles against her power, forced to admit she's far stronger than he expected. But even trapped, his mind is racing, realizing he must create his own opening. And in that moment, a single thought cuts through the pressure. He can win this. A familiar blue flame flickers to life in the palm of his hand. With cold focus, he prepares to unleash his most devastating counterattack. A pillar of pure hellfire erupts, incinerating the ribbons that held him captive. He stands untouched amidst the aftermath, his bonds completely vaporized. The illusionist is thrown back, her confident smirk replaced by a cry of agony. She stares in disbelief, accusing him of cheating, unable to comprehend his impossible arsenal of talents. He stands over his defeated foe, who can only curse him for surviving. But Qin Feng just smirks, mocking her for daring to challenge a true powerhouse. The system confirms the kill, and he realizes the altar's seal is finally weakening. He places the final dark crystal into the altar, completing the ancient mechanism. The pillar surges with power, preparing to unleash the ancient evil sealed within. A vortex of pure energy crackles to life, a storm of raw power. He watches as the seal shatters, knowing the true boss is about to make its grand entrance. A massive pillar of light erupts from the altar, signaling the demon's release. He braces himself against the overwhelming pressure, his resolve hardening for the fight ahead. The system confirms his success and displays his new, ridiculously overpowered stats. A massive clawed hand slams down, crackling with raw demonic energy. Qin Feng looks on, realizing this new monster is on a completely different level. His scan confirms it, a level 17 wraith messenger with a terrifying 71-star rating. The beast roars in fury, blaming Qin Feng for the death of its 7 followers. He blocks the first strike, the sheer force of the impact numbing his entire arm. The demon presses its attack, a relentless assault of pure, overwhelming power. But in his eyes there is no fear, only the cold reflection of his monstrous foe. It stomps the ground, shattering the very foundation of the ancient altar. But the beast looks down, surprised to see its own hand is bleeding from the exchange. It scoffs, disappointed that the human who killed its followers is so seemingly weak. But Qin Feng just offers a sarcastic apology for being such a disappointment. He reveals a new defensive ability, a set of spikes that absorbed half the blow. The demon's fist shatters the altar, sending Qin Feng flying from the shockwave. The beast is shocked, realizing the human is far stronger than it expected. With a furious cry, he leaps forward, ready to counterattack with everything he has. But his blade sparks uselessly against the creature's impossibly tough hide. Even his rank 3 Hellfire, now 10 times stronger, fails to leave a scratch. The attack is deflected, tearing apart the landscape but leaving the demon untouched. He uses his energy for propulsion, deciding a tactical retreat is better than being a pancake. From above, he prepares to unleash a massive energy slash upon his overconfident foe. The demon raises its arm, a strange sigil glowing as it blocks the powerful blast. Qin Feng is thrown back, his ultimate attack deflected with seemingly little effort. The beast mocks him, noting that for all his tricks, he hasn't left a single scratch. For a moment, doubt creeps in. Has he finally met an enemy he simply cannot defeat? But he refuses to give up, believing even a monster this strong must have a weakness. And then it clicks, a new strategy forming behind a confident, knowing smirk. He channels his power into his blade, his eyes glowing with a new, focused intensity. Instead of aiming for the body, he lunges low, targeting the beast's massive legs. His blade finds its mark, striking the creature's ankle with a resounding crack. He stands back, his theory confirmed. The joints are the key to bringing this giant down. The demon roars in absolute fury, promising to tear the human limb from limb. Its corrosive blood pools on the ground, sizzling and eating away at the stone. But Qin Feng is shocked as the blood on his hand begins to have a strange effect. The beast retaliates with a massive earth-shattering punch aimed directly at him. He's caught completely off guard by the sheer speed of the devastating counterattack. The blow connects, unleashing a massive pillar of raw demonic energy. He's engulfed in the blast, the force seemingly tearing him apart from the inside out. Elsewhere, another player's journey comes to a brutal and unceremonious end. But Qin Feng rises, his extracted healing talent already knitting his broken body back together. He realizes that with this power he can simply outlast the beast in a war of attrition. The demon roars in disbelief, unable to comprehend how he survived. Qin Feng just smirks, promising he'll be the last one standing. But a system alert reveals another player has already completed the quest. With one of the top spots taken, Qin Feng knows he's running out of time. His eyes narrow with renewed focus, his resolve hardening for the final push. He launches himself forward, delivering a powerful kick to the demon's head. The beast is sent reeling, crashing through the remains of the ancient altar. He reveals another trump card, creating a perfect shadow clone to fight by his side. He recalls a seemingly useless F-rank talent, realizing it's the key to his new strategy. With his senses now linked, he and his clone unleash a perfectly coordinated pincer attack. The clone rips the demon's arm clean off, securing another fragment for the quest. The demon roars in disbelief, questioning how this human is so impossibly strong. It recalls observing him from the start, certain his stats were never this high. But after a strange ritual, Qin Feng's true data became completely unreadable.